Hey there, hi there, ho there, welcome back once again to another exciting episode of Disney Compendium. As always, I am your host, JJ, and over there, my good buddy, my good pal, Nick. Nick, we're doing it again. We're back. It's been
We're
a
back,
while.
broadcasting live from the negative zone.
You can't see this, but through Streamlabs or StreamYard, Nick, we always video chat on this, and Nick is he's literally just the background from Max Headroom.
Yeah,
It's all I can see. It's great. It's certainly an experience.
it's just
So
it's just my consciousness just floating in the ether.
yeah, you're the master control panel from Tron.
Exactly.
Um, End of line. Uh, so yeah, Excelsior, one could say.
Oh, yeah, Excelsior, and now I'm sad.
Oh,
Oh,
volume 54, ladies and gentlemen, we are really just getting to the end of it all. This is the what year did this come out? 2014? 2014.
I'm sorry. When you said we're getting to the end of it all, I thought like you're talking about Disney movies, right? Or
Well, I've got Nick, I got a big surprise for you on the season finale.
yeah,
But you know there's a few more episodes left before that. So, but no,
North and Pool Harry.
this is Big Hero 6.
Yeah,
This is a Marvel movie.
it is. Boy, is it!
Boy, is it. Yeah, Big Hero 6 was done. This is from, as is the podcast's intent, a Walt Disney Animation Studios movie, but it is a Marvel adaptation, and it's very loosely an adaptation of the characters, but it's still a Marvel movie nonetheless from the Disney Animation Studio proper. So
Was
that's
this the first hey, we're going to combine our resources to a project thing?
no, because they would have bought Marvel in 2009.
But I mean, as far as it's evident that there's influence between.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, I would think so because I don't think anything showed up and they didn't really play a whole lot of Disney Marvel stuff. They still haven't really. I mean, outside of some Kingdom Hearts stuff, the Marvel and Disney stuff tends to sort of be pretty separate from one another. They haven't really done a lot of crossover with like Disney slash like the Marvel branch of things. So still like this is a unique sort of situation for them. So should we start with the movie or start with the background of Big Hero 6 first? That's like the idea of Big Hero 6.
Let's talk about the background. That's important.
Yeah, so Big Hero 6 was created in the mid 90s by what we know as Man of Action, which is probably most famous for creating Ben 10. So Man of Action is a sort of like a writers group. Just sort of like it's just the pen name for a group of writers. So they created it for Marvel in the mid 90s. It's the original Big Hero 6 was Sunfire and the Big Hero 6.
Mm-hmm.
So and it was like a group whose like leader was the Silver Samurai of all people.
So basically, Japanese-based Marvel villains.
Yeah, and it's like it's early. It was originally supposed to make its debut. The team was going to make its debut in an issue of Alpha Flight, but things got kind of screwed up, and they got their miniseries first. But yeah, it was basically like an Alpha Flight kind of thing. So there hasn't been there hasn't been a whole lot of Big Hero 6 outside before the Disney movie. You know, they pop up from time to time, had a couple of their own series. Two of the characters in the movie, which would be Fred and technically Wasabi, although the Wasabi in the comic is different than the Wasabi in the movie. but those two characters were created by Chris Claremont, while the rest of them were created by Man of Action.
Chris Claremont, best known for his X-Men run.
Absolutely, the one of the longest like singular runs in comic books. Period. He pretty much from like was like late 70s to the mid 90s was just sort of the X-Men guy.
Yeah, that's like you think about like the Phoenix Saga, and that's
Yeah.
Chris Claremont.
Basically, if it was on the cartoon, it was Chris Claremont.
Yep. Except for Morph.
Except for Morph. But yeah, that was. But again, Morph was killed off in the first episode and then only used sparingly from there on out.
Good.
Yeah. Good. But that's sort of the truncated history of Big Hero 6 in comic books. The characters are kind of the same for the most part. Baymax is the one that's sort of like the most removed from his comic book counterpart, but because like in the comic it is like created by Hero using like his dad's memories implanted into an AI that he created, and it can like transmutate and things like that. It can turn into like a big dragon and things like that. It's a much more aggressive creature in the comic books, but outside of that, the characters are relatively similar, right down to Fred being just a guy in a fire-breathing lizard suit. His nickname in the comic is Fredzilla. So yeah.
Well, and but the good thing is it's also not important to have know anything about the comic book to watch.
Yes. Movie. Yeah. So even before it was like the Guardians of the Galaxy, where they really weren't anything before the movie. Like the Guardians, like as a comic book reader, we knew the Guardians pretty well because of the Annihilation event.
Yep.
That was basically it. That was where they were created. The movie team was created. Like the Guardians had been around for a long time. Just your space team. It wasn't like a current day space team with Quill and Groot and Rocket. And 8 creation. And I don't know what I'm doing. Is everything okay for me right now?
No, you're dropping.
Yeah. I saw it hiccup, so I'm just taking a little chill until I see it, because I can see the network. The network's popping back in. There we go. Am I doing okay now?
Yeah, you're fine.
So that's the Big Hero 6 is, just nothing team even at the time when the movie came out. Even after the movie came out, it's like Marvel or like Disney has done anything with it. And the comic book wise, Marvel hasn't really brought back the Big Hero 6. I think like even they did a comic book series, but they had IDW do it. Like even Marvel themselves weren't writing the Big Hero 6 comic book series.
It was just an adaptation of the movie anyway, wasn't it? Right?
For the most part, not really, not 100%. It was sort of like kids. It really was just like so. Fuck.
Yeah, I see it.
Stupid internet.
I can't tell if it's me or not.
I just need
to
make sure. Me. I know it's me because I am looking at my network. I get a little network warning when it's me, so I just want to make sure that nothing's like downloading on the network. It shouldn't be. No, it's just me. So I'm in a new position, as you can tell. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's be a little wonky, but it's fine for the most part. It's being okay. Just
sure, yeah. Fine.
Anyways, I'm just gonna go quiet for a couple of seconds here. So yeah, I don't think there's much else to talk about with comic book wise of Big Hero 6.
Yeah, I mean, look, wasn't Sunfire and Silver Samurai like C tier characters anyway, dude?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
like,
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's funny when you go to if you go to Marvel Unlimited right now, you don't even that series isn't on Marvel Unlimited, the Sunfire and the Big Hero 6 series. Just the standalone like 6 or 7 issue miniseries for Big Hero 6 is on there. So like even Disney doesn't give a rip about that stuff. So the only thing the only thing they care about is their version of Big Hero 6.
right.
And so I guess then now we just go into what their version of Big Hero 6 is. So did you see this when it was new?
No, I didn't. I saw I got a digital copy from, maybe it was you or it was like a freebie. I forget. But I got a digital copy like relatively after it came out on Blu-ray.
I feel like it was one of those ones where it was like sign up for Vudu and get 4 free movies, and
Yeah,
this was one of them or
that
something.
was it. It was
Yeah.
this. I got this and like Independence Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah, I saw it in theaters. I definitely saw it in theaters. Because I was just really interested in what's a Disney made Marvel movie. You know, like an actual Disney made Marvel movie, not
Right.
like a Disney owned studio making a Marvel movie. And because again, you could tell going into it that it was uniquely different from the comic book series.
Yeah. I what I do remember is Stan doing some press for it.
Yeah. It's always funny with Stan because like he has like less than nothing to do with the Big Hero 6 team outside of maybe Sunfire. So,
And even then it's like
yeah, tenuous at best. But you know, you've got to have him in there. He's the ambassador for the brand. So
he even has a cameo in the movie.
yeah, one of the cuter cameos.
Yeah.
In the movie. In like of all of his cameos. So yeah, it's a good one. Very rare post credits cameo for Stan.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you have a kid and his brother, and it's like, you know, the young kid is a genius, and he creates robots and is doing robot fights.
All about it's like San Fran Tokyo. It's like
yes,
kind of
it's
like a,
yes, yes, and I can't remember if it's like San Fran. It's not San Fran Tokyo. It's like San Francisco or something like that.
it's Neo Tokyo.
Yeah, it's
Replica
yes,
Mollusk.
yeah. Neo Tokyo, yeah, Neo Tokyo 3, Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yes.
There's giant robots, a lot of religious iconography. It's very interesting movie. But yeah, it's very much. I never really understood what they were going for with this whole like we're going to combine San Francisco and Tokyo into one sort of creation for the sake of this series, because it's like that in the comics too. It's, you know, this standalone kind of weird thing, and I just don't understand it. I guess like it can't just be San Francisco. Like, why does it have to be this weird?
Did San Francisco go east and Japan go west, and they just kind of or sorry, scratch that, reverse it.
Yeah, just no, I don't understand it. I understand that they wanted to use iconography from both because like they really wanted to do a I don't know. They really did want like a Blade Runner aesthetic, I guess.
I mean,
and Japan really leans into that sort of like tech noir kind of nonsense, you know. So
yeah, but I guess what confuses me is like the characters are clearly like Japanese, and
kind of like you know, two of them, like, you know,
well, there's African American, and then there's the white guy, but
you got the African American, you got the hippie girl,
Oh yeah,
Uh,
Fred.
got Fred, but then you just but the main characters are that, and the aunt doesn't seem to be particularly Asian.
Yeah,
Um, the teacher isn't Asian, and the studio head isn't. Uh, Not the studio head, the tech firm, whatever it
yeah,
was.
yeah. He's. But the reason I'm going to mention this because San Francisco is like, you know, the Asian population is mostly Chinese,
Yeah,
not Japanese. So I'm like,
yeah. There's just this. It's almost
melting
yeah.
pot.
Yeah, it's a weird sort of choice that they made, and I don't really understand it, but whatever.
Yeah, it's not
And it
big.
doesn't really play into any of it. It doesn't play into the plot in any way, shape, or form. It does. It barely plays into the aesthetic. There's a couple of scenes of like where you get to see like the outside world, but for the most part, it doesn't really seem particularly Tokyo-ish. It seems more San Francisco-y than anything.
Yeah,
Um,
the cultural stuff
with
doesn't
just
play a role aside from like that first Baymax outfit where it's kind of like a samurai armor.
uh, the dude's kabuki
Yeah,
design, and
yeah,
that's basically it. Yeah, because like even like Baymax is learning like martial arts, but a lot of that's Chinese anyway. So
yeah.
it's not
Karate is
like
Karate is Chinese martial arts, not Japanese.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. It's weird. It's definitely it's jam packed full of white dude energy with that has an appreciate that's that like I love Japanese stuff. So
Oh God, it's some real otaku bullshit.
yeah. I mean, it really
Yeah.
feels that way because it really is just sort of like very surface level throughout. It doesn't even play into like it like maybe if it was like Kung Fu Panda or something where it sort of like delves into sort of like the culture a little bit more than that, but it's just completely surface level. It's just aesthetics, and
I think
that's
the
it.
I think the Lego Ninjago movie was more
Right? Yeah. 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 It's a weird choice, and I don't like it or care for it, but whatever. It is what it is. For the most outside of that, the movie's fantastic. I guess I could
Yeah,
just say
that's
that.
fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
And again, this is just two white guys talking about the cultural thing, so take
Yeah.
this with a grain of
Yeah.
salt.
Yeah. Um so yeah, it's basically the main character hero um wants to he's a robotics genius like his brother.
He does battle bots.
Yeah, he does battle bots, and he's hustling some dudes. So he's constantly getting in trouble. It's implied that he's constantly getting in trouble, like hustling guys and like robot fighting.
Right.
Um, because basically once the opening scene to establish that he's really good at robots, is set up, the robot fighting thing never plays into it ever again.
Nope.
Never comes up again. Never like maybe you should just go back to like there's none of that nonsense.
Nope.
It's
It's
just
not.
it's gone. He goes to his brother takes him to his school where he meets the professor who is one of the lead men of robotics, and uh, meets like all of the students and stuff. And he now needs that's his dream is to go to this robotics school, take us with him as his professor.
Right.
So they have basically a science fair. It's the Stark Expo,
Yes, it is.
but for robotics, where basically the winner gets to get into the school. It's odd, but obviously, it's just I don't know. I never understand. Like, just let him go to the school. Why does there need to be a thing?
I
Right?
think it's an excuse for character exposition. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's just cheap. It's a cheap character exposition where, like, um, he could just show the professor, like, oh, here's something. Like the professor could say, if you want to get in this school, you have to wow me. You don't have to have this whole big thing about it, but they just have to make this whole big thing about it because you have to create. You have to create. Um, I don't know what the right way to put it is. It's like because it's not really like any sort of like issue for him to overcome in any way. It's just because it's the same issue then if it's a big thing or a small thing of getting into the school. You could figure out a way of doing it, but you also needed a way to kill the brother, um,
Right.
which is what this leads to. So Hero creates little nanobots that you can control with a mind link. That they're just little tiny robots that are basically like those magnetic building things. You know what I
Yes,
mean? Those.
my son has those, the magna beads.
Yes, yes. It's basically those, where it's just magnetized ball bearings and rods that you can just sort of create any sort of design that you can imagine with them. But it's just that, but robots. So you can build a building just by thinking it, and they just like gather up and build, and that's impossible even in the crazy techno world of the cyberpunk future that it's envisioning here. Like the way for that to work is like physics could never allow it.
Well,
um,
my thing is like also like
yeah,
how does he get the money for this?
where's the funding coming from? Where because he made a ton of them.
Yeah,
He made like 55-gallon barrel drums filled with these things,
like literally
basically.
recycling bins full of them.
Yeah. And absolutely unclear where the resources come from for this. Because it doesn't show them living in any sort of. It's not like they're Fred that we discover is rich dude at any given point. It's just he's just living with his aunt, uh,
Who owns the cafe?
who owns the cafe. It's a very Studio Ghibli or Persona 5 situation going on here.
Hey,
Um,
Joker, time to go to sleep.
yeah, yeah. Hey, I mean, Hero isn't too far removed, or Baymax isn't too far removed from
Morgana.
Morgana. So yeah,
Yeah.
a little less sassy.
Less. But yeah, they are very solidly middle class in this
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, but yeah, no, he was able to design in his bedroom like he's Peter frickin' Parker.
Yeah.
Um, this a very elaborate robotics system that uses a neuro interface. Don't even see really a computer floating around too much in this world either. So don't know what he's doing, how he's doing it, but there he is.
The most you see
Um,
him on a computer when he's 3D printing, which by the way, where does he get that?
yeah,
The for Betamax, he's like basically like on some old like computer with like this running basic. And he just comes over. It was like, all right,
and they're
function
still
11.
and they're still using like PCMI cards because that's
Yeah.
basically what is running Baymax's like memory units or
Yeah.
just very simple PCMI cards.
Yep.
Uh, um, so that's weird. A lot of the technology in this is all over the place.
It's like 32 gigabytes.
Yeah,
Just let's
and like Baymax is powered by a lithium ion cell, which is you know, and his like base, his charging base. He's basically a Roomba.
yeah.
Um, return to his charging base. Um, anyways, he creates these little robots, shows them off, big, huge success. Uh, Jeff Bezos comes to offer him uh, wants his little nano robots, but Hero denies it, and because he just wants to learn more, improve them, and go to the school and do all of that. And then the school burns down with his nanobots inside, and also his brother, because his brother runs back in to save the professor because the professor didn't get out.
Brother's an idiot.
Just because his brother's his brother doesn't have any superpowers, doesn't have anything, just runs into a burning. Uh, keep in mind, this is like a science hall. I can't imagine it not being the most dangerous place to run into when there's
Yeah.
a fire. Uh, Science stuff is incredibly volatile, no matter
Yeah.
what it is. So Hero loses his brother. his professor, and his incredible one of a kind mini robots all in one singular night. He obviously slinks into a deep, deep depression and doesn't go to school.
Oh, but he's already met Baymax at this point, though.
He's already met Baymax at this point, because that was when he first went to the school and he met all of the, fellow classmates that will become his teammates. And, Baymax is a nurse. It's its design is to just be a soft, gentle, like, how can I help you? What are you having? Like, because the brother hit him and he went, ow, it activated Baymax to try to fix whatever made him go, ow.
Yeah. He
did, and then once he's done,
duct tape on his arm to
and once he's once he's done giving you your treatment, you just say, I am happy with my treatment, and then he just returns to his little charging base and calls it good until he's needed again. And that's Baymax. Baymax is a big white inflatable marshmallow man. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And it's a great design. Way better than the comic book design.
What is the comic? The comic book design is not some vinyl man.
But money's worth out of the Baymax design.
Yeah.
So, inevitably, Baymax gets activated because, Hero's not doing well. And I like the part. It's actually really clever the way they did the, like, start the case with one of the nanobots surviving.
Yeah.
He
finds it, or
and because it's moving around, and he finds it and he puts it in a petri dish, and it's because it's been reactivated and it's trying to catch up with the rest of the nanobots. And so Baymax of all discovers that the robot's trying to go anywhere, so they basically used a petri dish with little nanobot in it as a compass to lead them to their secret lair, of what's going on.
He contacts the other kids because he sees that Hero needs companionship.
So he's already called the friends. This is where we meet the villain of the film, the Kabuki Man. What was the Troma movie? Remember the Kabuki Cop?
Man, that's a deep cut, sir.
Yeah. I think there are like 3 of those movies, man. I think
JJ went to the boneyard and got the deepest cut. By the way, it's so hard not to call him Betamax.
Yeah.
It's like VHS, but not good.
No, hey man, Betamax was better than VHS. It got screwed, let me tell you.
Because the porn industry chose VHS.
But yeah, Kabuki Man's motivations that we learn are like I get it, but it's way too complicated.
Yeah.
He clearly has a straight line to get I just call him Jeff Bezos because that's just all I could think of. You could just kill him. He waited for Hero to create these nanobots that he ended up stealing, and you're assuming he create. They don't really show him causing the fire that.
No.
But so he clearly burned everything down, faked his own death, stole the nanobots, created a very elaborate kabuki costume that has the nanobot controlling neuro interface hidden behind the mask. Also, he can capture this dude as revenge for his daughter, being killed in an experiment.
Right.
And I I've already forgot what the big ring was. Like it was just some sort of like matter trans
Right.
destroying. Like it's it's not. There's no Chekhov's gun situation with
No,
this. It's
just
just
a
like
portal.
yeah. It's a weird portal device that is starting to that works very slowly. It'd be like if the Star Trek teleporter like just really took its time discombobulating you to get you to the next planet or whatever. Um, just like complete agony.
Also, Kabuki, man, he doesn't really need it. You get the sense that, like, he didn't really need a reason to go evil. Just like, well,
Killed my
I'm,
daughter. I'm just gonna
I'm mildly inconvenienced.
yeah
Time, yeah,
yeah like because like at no point does the business guy even come across as like slimy and like it doesn't seem like he was being arrogant in the situation that killed his daughter.
it just seems like an accident.
Yeah, it seemed like it's like they seem everyone seemed confident. The daughter seemed confident. He seemed confident. Like it's just an accident, but he snapped and
Yeah, so he's like,
and decided, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be a racist caricature villain. He might as well have just turned into Fu Manchu.
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, bad decisions made by this professor all around. Uh,
Or he turns into defense from falling down. Yes.
yeah. Uh, but yeah, I don't. Yeah, his motivations like the motivation makes sense, but it's so complicated and like you don't feel the slightest amount of sympathy for like how far he took it because like you could have just killed him. Like
Yeah.
he went this weird like it's really like a Doctor Doom thing that he went for. Where it's like, boy, you went really elaborate for no particular reason
Yeah.
other than ego, I guess, because he is a super genius because
Yeah.
he is like the master of robotics. Um,
He's also amazingly spry for a professor that's been sitting, in
yeah,
his 50s.
he's in tenure. Yeah, he's
It's like,
yeah. Uh, now I gotta okay. So let's get into the okay. So that's James Cromwell, by the way, uh,
okay,
who's voicing that character. That really
James
puts
Cromwell,
you
Farmer Brown or Farmer Hoggett.
yeah.
Farmer Hoggett.
So he is 81 years old as of now.
Dear God.
So you know he was in his he was in his 70s when that when he made that movie.
I feel like
Uh,
he's perpetually 81.
yeah, James Cromwell's been 81 for 25 years.
Yes.
Um, uh, uh, been in some of he's definitely been in some of your favorite movies. Uh, let's go through it.
LA Confidential.
Yes, absolutely. LA Confidential. Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise. Obviously, he was in Babe, as we said. He's Farmer Hoggett. Um, he was in Star Trek: First Contact.
Well, is that the best of the Next Generation movies or the
Yeah,
generation?
I
It's
think I think First Contact is
okay. It's close though.
yeah, The Green Mile.
Oh, that's right. He's the warden.
Yeah, Warden Hal Moores.
Yeah,
He was in Space Cowboys, the
he's the head
old
of
man
NASA.
astronaut movie. The Sum of All Fears. He was the president. Um, Spider-Man 3, Captain Stacy.
Oh my God, that's right. He was.
Yep. He was in the most recent Jurassic World movie,
Yep.
Fallen Kingdom. Yeah, he's been so he was in some of your favorite movies and also some of your least favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
And he also has returned uh, in the like his voice has popped back up in the a couple of times in the TV series for uh, Big Hero 6. So let's go through the rest of the. Listen, we gave you the plot. That is pretty much the concise version of the plot. Like, they beat him. Baymax sacrifices himself. I guess the one thing we could talk about is his hero's weird like uh venom moment, like his symbiote moment in the middle of the
Yeah.
movie, towards like in the third act, where it's like he's been corrupted with this power that he's given his robot friend, uh and basically trying to kill
The
Callahan.
professor. Yeah,
Yeah.
he puts murder on a flashcard.
Yeah, on a PCMI card, and
Yes.
shoves it into the chest, and he pulls out the "Don't Murder" card,
Mhm.
really just violating all of the rules of robotics.
Mhm.
Um, and it's not until his friends show up and he escapes, and then Baymax shows him a video of all of the failures that led up to the creation of Baymax. Took him like 85 tries
Yeah.
to get Baymax up and running, and it snapped Hero out of it.
The evil turn wasn't really that long though.
No, it was only like 5 minutes. Uh, so
Yeah.
didn't last
But
very long in the slightest.
they beat him. Baymax sacrificed himself, and Hero built a new Baymax.
Yeah, because the PCMI card that still had his personality survived, and so he was just able to make a new one. And there
With
you
all
go.
his
Yeah, and in the post-credit scene, Fred is talking to the painting of his dad, which is Stan Lee, just to discover behind the painting is his secret room where he's a superhero, and then Stan Lee shows up to uh, talk
do
about
Stanley.
do Stan Lee stuff, talk about underpants.
He shows up to mock Todd McFarlane and
Yeah,
Rob Liefeld.
Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld, and
Justice
also
League,
yeah,
both
and
parents.
also and also definitely claim that every character in this was co-created by him, but not tell you for decades the other person who created them with you, not give them credit. So
It was me, and I want to say Jack Kirby was there, but mostly me. Steve Ditko might have been there, but
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
sure.
Spider-Man. Yeah, I definitely created Spider-Man, and there were a couple of other guys just kind of hanging out, listening to me.
I created Spider-Man on a golf course.
Yeah.
The publisher Martin Goodman was like, "Yeah, that's fantastic, Stan."
Speaking of fantastic, just like the other team that I wholly created.
By myself.
By myself, all alone, no help. It's fast forward decades later, and Stan Lee is, a foot in the grave for a decade, and they finally start giving
Kirby
and Ditko and all these guys credit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, they were there too.
Yeah.
Now I remember.
Yeah. Oh, we tease, but we still do love Stan.
I do love Stan Lee, but that was not great that happened.
Yeah. Stan Lee, love Stan Lee. Really, I mean, he was a creator. He definitely was not part of that process, but also didn't need to be an ass about it. Didn't need to.
And also not 100% responsible for.
Yeah.
Spider-Man to me, when I think of Spider-Man, I think of Steve Ditko.
Ditko. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, like, that's everyone that draws Spider-Man now is aping that style too.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Nobody's like, well, some people do McFarlane, but yeah.
Yeah, but by and large, a lot of people tend to. McFarlane didn't particularly make a particularly expressive Spider-Man. The eyes were just giant. Like, Ditko really liked to make the eyes change size. What he was thinking.
I also not a fan of the way he drew Peter Parker. Just
No.
all angles and.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're making fun of Todd McFarlane now.
Yeah, always. And listen, I don't have super big beef with Todd McFarlane. I do like Spawn, and his era
I
of
like Spawn,
Spider
yeah.
and his era of Spider-Man is very memorable.
Yes.
I definitely have signed copies of Spider-Man issues from Todd and everything.
You got that Spawn #1 action figure that you love so much.
Yeah, that thing's rad. Yeah, and I've got an issue of Spider-Man with Ghost Rider on the cover that is signed by Todd.
Now, is it hilarious that he paid way too much for that baseball? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
It is hilarious.
But, it is what it is.
Is it still for Rob Liefeld, though? Will it ever be okay to... It's never not going to be okay, is it?
No. We may have to do an episode on this podcast just about the Stan Lee episode of him with McFarlane and Liefeld.
Friends, do yourself a favor. Go to YouTube. Open up YouTube right now. I want you to type in the following.
Just an episode
Stan Lee owns. That's it.
Yeah.
Just look that up.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
It's great.
Mwah, mwah, perfect content. I like at the end either. Well, you guys ruined us, and we're going to be going in the Hollywood pictures now. Keep in mind, this was like the early 90s.
Yeah, this was like some weird public access looking show too.
Yeah. It was when Stan wasn't even really part of Marvel at the time. So.
No, he was just there to he was like, oh yeah, I negotiated stuff. Like, did you?
Yeah.
We got you to think for that Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie, Stan.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Let's see who else is in this movie. Scott, I forget the voice of Baymax. Is a Second City guy. And he was one of the co-creators of Moral Oral on Adult Swim, if you remember that show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the voice of Baymax.
Scott Aukerman?
What?
It's not Scott Aukerman, is it?
No. His name's like Scott Adist, something like that.
I just think of like comedians named Scott Aukerman.
Yeah. Earwolf. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see. But yeah, he's not really particularly a big actor. He's definitely more of a TV guy, and definitely a writer for TV and stuff.
It's very ASMR voice in Baymax too.
Yeah, which is very clearly like the point, yeah, right. It's supposed to be a nurse. It's supposed to be. I do like it when that was most of the advertising for it was when his battery was failing and the character was starting to malfunction and stuff with the hairy baby.
Yeah.
So, and the fist bump was really entered itself into pop culture at a point. Yeah. So the main actor for the guy that played Hero is a kid named Ryan Potter. This was one of his first things. This is definitely, he hasn't even really done a whole lot else outside of Big Hero 6. He did a few other minor things, and that's it. So, Big Hero 6 is his big break. You got TJ Miller as Fred.
TJ Miller, you know him from a lot of stuff.
Most recently from being canceled.
Yep.
And Deadpool.
Yep.
So there's that. Go-Go, which is the Asian friend that has the roller skate, the rollerblade style.
She's the punk girl.
Yeah, that's Jamie Chung. Just a character actor. You know what? One thing that you would definitely know her from, Nick?
What would that be, sir?
She played Chi-Chi in the Dragon Ball Evolution movie.
Well, that is certainly a movie that was made.
I think Dragon Ball Evolution has come up a few times on this because I think like just actors popped up in that movie.
I need you on your other the other podcast to
To
do that.
to watch Dragon Ball Evolution. Force
Yep.
my friends to watch Dragon Ball Evolution with
Correct.
me. I don't think I can pull that off, but I'll definitely try. Who played Goku in that? I forget.
I don't even know, dude.
Justin Chatwin. I don't even know who that is. Have they been in anything? Okay, good news. Well, I mean they've been in stuff. They've been in stuff, but nothing that any of us would have ever seen, with the exception of maybe Chips.
I'm not saying that their careers deserve to die at that movie.
Yeah,
but
before Dragon Ball, he was in War of the Worlds.
Okay.
So the Steven Spielberg one,
right?
He was in an episode of Doctor Who.
The new
called
one?
The Return. A 2016 episode titled "The Return of Dr. Mysterio."
Okay, so that would be a that wouldn't be Matt Smith, I don't think.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I don't know. I don't watch Doctor Who. Please don't.
God, what is his name? Oh, Peter Capaldi. I'd be that doctor.
Okay. Oh, apparently that was the first episode of the 2016 December Christmas Day 2016. Okay. The Return of Dr. Mysterio.
That'd be a Capaldi episode then.
It is. I'm looking at it now. I definitely see Capaldi sitting there.
But you mock my Doctor Who.
So yeah. Anyways, she was Chi-Chi in Dragon Ball.
Yeah. Hey, you would be the worst character. Well, okay, not the worst character in anime because I've not seen all of anime, but a lot of anime. Where does she rank among the worst freaking characters ever?
Definitely on the list. That's for sure.
Is it top 10?
Maybe. Okay. I mean, there's some bad characters, man.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Anyways, the character of Wasabi is played by Damon Wayans Jr.
He was on New Girl?
Yes.
And something else.
Let's see. He is a New Girl. He was in an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Wow.
Okay.
Let's see. Happy Together. He was in that. What's happening? What's Happy Together? The Truth About Harry the Cupid Affair. Bob's Burgers. 3 episodes of Bob's Burgers. What movies has he been in? He was in The Other Guys. Land Before Time 14. Journey of the Brave.
I don't know. I'm sorry, did you say 14?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that might be the last one. I think 14 might be the last Land Before Time movie.
Eventually, you're going to get to time. You can't be.
Yeah, eventually time has to come, and I feel like we're there. And he was in Super Troopers 2.
I never saw Super Troopers 2.
And he's in that Cherry, that new Spider-Man movie.
By
the Russos.
He's Cherry in the Pee-wee's Playhouse reboot.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's Genesis Rodriguez is a hell of a name.
Man,
wow. And that's Honey Lemon.
Okay, that's is that the Mega Drive from Brazil?
The Portuguese Mega Drive.
Portuguese Mega Drive. Genesis Rodriguez. You know the Model 3 won't let you play the Master System games anymore. Oh yeah.
Okay, so Genesis Rodriguez. Let's see what movies she's been in that one of us would have seen.
How is she not more popular with that name, dude?
I know. Well, she was in. Oh, Lord. She was, which is unfortunate. Those are the Kevin Smith horror nonsense that nobody likes.
Yep.
Oh, she was in She-Ra and the
Okay.
Princess of Power, the most recent one. She's Perfuma in that She-Ra cartoon that's on Netflix. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And she's been in she's going to be a main character in cool. And she reprises her role as Honey Lemon all the time. So that's good for her.
Yeah.
James Cromwell was Robert Callahan, which we already talked about. Alan Tudyk played the CEO guy, Cree or Cray.
He if it's a Disney movie, animated film, Alan Tudyk's in it.
Yes, absolutely. And Maya Rudolph played Aunt Cass. So
Okay. So
and Billy Bush plays newscaster.
oh God. Billy Bush. Well,
Billy Bush. Uh, he had his own private bus for the filming of the movie that he had interviewed some people on. And,
he had his oh. Oh. Oh.
Just some locker room talk is all. It's okay.
Just grab him with a mochi. Okay, so Mochi's a cat.
So yeah, 2009 is when Marvel acquired Disney. No, other way. Disney acquired Marvel. No. Marvel couldn't acquire a sandwich by the 2000s. It was things weren't great for the company.
No.
The only thing it had going for it was the fact that the Spider-Man and X-Men movies were incredibly popular.
Yes.
By 2009, the Iron Man movie had come out and was very successful. So things started turning around with the Disney acquisition.
Yeah.
Do
you remember being concerned when they bought Marvel?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I thought for sure. No. I thought for sure that there weren't going to be comic books anymore. I just assumed Marvel was going to become a media franchise. It just feels like Disney doesn't even really have, like, they have a publishing arm, but like not really, not for anything like this. It's mostly like children's books and some weird like art books from time to time. But even then, they outsource a lot of that stuff. The thought was like Disney's either not going to be making comic books anymore, or there's going to be some sort of weird like we're outsourcing all of that to IDW and all of their creators or whatever. It's like they're the ones that get like how they did with the movies back in the day, where they're just like selling off the rights to Spider-Man, so some other like Boom Studios can make Spider-Man comics or something. Was like, but the real fear was that's like, oh, there's not going to be comic books anymore. Like best case scenario, they just or like slim it down so much.
Or
basically focus on the stuff that was. Yeah. But like, luckily that by and large, Disney has sort of kept out of Marvel's business. That's not to say they haven't gotten into Marvel's business. They definitely have.
They have. They've probably been more in the business of Lucasfilm. They've been in more Lucasfilm's business.
Yeah, they've had their fingers in there because, like, with the Marvel acquisition and everything, and the movie rights and all that stuff. Like, we know that Marvel was playing down. Like, they canceled the Fantastic Four series. Like, the X-Men were taking a back seat while they were trying to push the Inhumans and things like that. That's probably Disney's biggest sort of like wall that they put up in terms of what was going on in the comic book side of things.
Right.
But by and large, like, yeah, they haven't really. I mean, the movies have definitely influenced the comics, but that's just natural. It's always been that way.
Yep.
So like, Superman, the old Superman movies influenced the comic books, from the 70s, the Christopher Reeve stuff.
Mm-hmm.
like the X-Men cartoon influenced the comics, and the popularity of that. Like, certain characters, like, because of the popularity of the cartoon, characters that were popular but not as popular, but were much more popular in the comics or cartoon, like Gambit, would get like super pushes in the comic books,
Or Jubilee.
Or Jubilee. Yeah, Jubilee was always just sort of a like, because like Jubilee in the cartoon is taking on the role of Kitty Pryde in the comics.
Yes.
But yeah, Kitty Pryde wasn't in the cartoon, so in the same level. I mean, she popped up, but because like the pilot was Pride of the X-Men, if you remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Jubilee really got some popularity from the cartoon.
And she became Wolverine's new sidekick in the comics, taking that spot that Kid had. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, things have sort of course corrected itself as time has drifted away from the cartoon. Like Kitty Pryde's a major part of the X-Men universe now. It's really impressive because that was always the trajectory. Like back in the 80s and stuff, when they were introducing that character, it was clear that it was like Kitty Pryde is one of the futures of the team. Her trying to find her feet and like constantly changing her name and everything, like Shadowcat, Sprite, it's just but yeah, so Disney's acquisition of Marvel didn't really affect it any as harsh as we thought it was going to.
If anything, affected it more in a positive way, I would say.
Definitely. The comic books definitely got better afterwards.
Yeah.
They had been pretty trash for years leading up to it. Late 90s Marvel stuff,
we just had One More Day, right?
Yeah. Well, like, and even things when you think of things like Heroes Reborn and all that nonsense, and how miserable the Avengers stuff was in like the late 90s and early thousands.
Clone War, Spider-Man Clone Saga.
Yeah, the clone conspiracy and things like the maximum clonage, if you will remember, was
the dearth of X books. Yeah,
everything. You had X-Men, X-Force, X-Factor, Wolverine. Every B character had their own side story.
New Mutants.
Yeah. Cable had his own book, and you had just X-Men. X-Men was so popular for a while on Spider-Man comics. They had written on the cover the non-mutant hero.
Yeah.
Because that was it. Nobody was buying Iron Man. Nobody was buying Thor. Nobody gave a rip about Captain America. It was Spider-Man, and it was the X-Men, and that was it.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah. You go back. There's so many. It's funny to go back and read stuff from that era because it's amazing how it's like, man, I didn't read any of this.
Yeah.
Like, and it's terrible. It's almost all terrible, and the designs are miserable. Like, we're gonna give Captain America body armor because that's like looks like Iron Man.
or let's give Daredevil that armor. Or
yeah, in the 90s, everyone got armor at one point. Even Spider-Man got armor.
Yeah.
Tony Stark was really going to town in the 90s.
I want to say the only non X-Men Spider-Man book I was reading then was the Hulk, but that's just been because he's my favorite character.
Yeah,
and I like the Smart Hulk and Joe Fixit, and that's when that was going on. So
yeah, Smart Hulk stuff in particular was like the cornerstone of the Hulk books at the time. So I just showed you that X-Men or Incredible Hulk 420 that I got the AIDS special edition where
man.
Look that book up, my friends. That is a roller coaster.
Yeah. I had the Smart Hulk action figure from remember the Hulk line from Toy Biz, and they made that Smart Hulk with the glasses and the black tank top.
Yeah,
my sister, when she came over one day, she's like, "Why do you have a sexy Hulk on your bookshelf?" I'm like, I didn't realize it was sexy Hulk. She goes, "Nope, that's a sexy Hulk."
I didn't. His head design was bonkers because
Yeah.
he had like perfectly coiffed hair. He had
Yeah.
strong cheekbones and jawline and pouty lips.
That handsome Squidward meme.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny because it's like, where did that come from? Because it's implying that he's a more human version of the Hulk, but Bruce Banner was not a handsome man.
No.
Uh, and the Hulk was definitely not even remotely
Yeah.
okay looking. So where did this face come from?
Yeah. So it's like this stunningly handsome Hulk.
Yeah.
So now I refer to him as Sexy Hulk because of my sister.
Stupid sexy Hulk.
Stupid sex. Sorry, we're off the track.
uh, we're off the track because basically what I'm talking about is after they Marvel acquired, I said it again, after Disney acquired Marvel,
Yes.
uh, Bob Iger wanted the company, to just go through the Marvel stuff and try to pick. Literally, the idea was go try to find something obscure, and we can make our own thing out of it. And they succeeded. Boy, did they find one of the most obscure things they could have found.
Yep.
With Big Hero 6. And it was the director of the Winnie the Pooh movie that we did very recently, looking at Marvel database stuff and saw the characters. He's like, I have never heard of these guys before. I thought the title was really cool. So I pitched it to Lasseter, and here we go. I would like to know, it says it was one of his 5 ideas, and I would love to know what the other ideas were. So I'd be curious to dig through the Disney archives and see what.
Well, remember that was that show on Disney Plus where the guys like going through like trying to find the most obscure Marvel characters kind of thing.
Yeah. And Paul Scheer doing that.
Paul Scheer was it like the Wild Pack or something like that?
The Wild Pack, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I wouldn't surprise me if that was one of the like things, like one of the choices of like, I mean, think about it. We're probably like Alpha Flight was probably too not obscure, but I can imagine it's like, let's do Alpha Flight. No, we're not doing the Canadian team. Get that out of your mind.
You can't do a gay guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have marketed the hell out of Puck and Sasquatch though.
I know. I was about to say, Puck and Sasquatch would have been like that generation's Rocket and Groot.
Yeah. But that's look at the fact that Vindicator kind of sucks as a character.
Yeah, that's the Vindicator. Like when you had female Vindicator was at least slightly more interesting.
What if Captain America was Canadian and also sucked ass?
Yeah, what if Captain America was just lame as hell?
Yeah. And Canadian.
And what if Wolverine like knew him, but kind of didn't give like 2 rips about him?
Yeah.
So according to this, members of the Marvel creative team were involved in the production, including Joe Quesadilla.
That's his name forever, I know.
I know. Joe Quesada and Jeff Loeb were involved in sort of helping it.
Because Quesada was EIC at the time, right?
Yeah, Quesada was the chief, was CCO, like the chief creative officer, and Jeff Loeb was head of TV, Marvel TV.
She got Jim Shooter there just for the hell of it.
Yeah, it would have been great. It's like, sir, you haven't even worked here for like a decade. It's like, shut up.
Here, I want you to look at this. I have a series of poor business decisions. We're going to do this.
And Marvel never had any interest in producing a comic for it, which is great.
Yep.
Disney planned to reprint a Marvel version of Big Hero 6, but reportedly Marvel disagreed. That's funny.
Please don't.
Yeah. Eventually they came to an agreement, and Yen Press published a manga adaptation of Big Hero 6. So it's interesting. Yeah, apparently there was a bit of a rift between Disney and Marvel on this particular one. So just from minor creative stuff. So It's weird. I didn't really think there was any issues with it, but it looks like there
Yeah,
really were.
was it Marvel being really precious with those characters, or
I think it's just Marvel, like not really understanding Disney's process when making an animated movie.
yeah,
Uh, Casada said the relationship between Hero and the robot has a very Disney flavor to it, and it's combined with these Marvel heroic arcs. So you can tell, like, it was too probably the character arcs were probably too Disney for their liking, and probably more they probably weren't as you know how it is with Marvel. They want that drama, but they made a very simple drama for the reason behind the characters doing what they do.
we know
Probably
Marvel.
wanted to make it more complicated.
The Marvel way is we're going to draw it out. This is what we
Yeah.
do. We start the story, and then we make another movie that's unrelated to those characters, but there's a piece of the story arc in it.
Yeah. And it did come up, but they decided not to connect it to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which would have been wild if they did, because it was still brand new at the time.
Because you know what, this movie, there's a lot of Spider-Man. There's a lot of Spider-Verse in this movie.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of like similar vibes.
yeah. It is fun. So apparently uh, when it comes to designing the robot, they wanted something new, something that was like not commonplace. And they said that's very difficult. Let's see. Here's a quote from Hall, who was director of the movie. I wanted a robot that we had never seen before and something to be wholly original. That's a tough thing to do. We've got a lot of robots in pop culture, everything from the Terminator to Wall-E to C-3PO on down the line, not to mention Japanese robots. I won't go into that. So, like, I'm not going to go into the Japanese robots. This movie has nothing to do with Japan. Why would I mention the Japanese robots? So I wanted something original. So with the idea eventually came up to one of the artists came up with the idea of a huggable robot. And they were influenced by animes that were popular at the time: Gunbuster, Eureka 7, Gurren Lagann, and even Evangelion were sort of influenced by, because it is like this sort of like mass-produced appeal of a robot kind of thing. So
Right.
And it was also inspired by Shogun Warriors. Those toys. Those
Right.
you remember the Shogun Warriors? Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's there was the Hero's got a drawing of looks like one of the Shogun Warriors on the wall behind you.
Yeah. So Baymax's design ended up going through a lot of changes, basically because they weren't going to do anything based off of the comic book design. But and they even like took research trips to like a robotics institute that was funded by DARPA, So, and they did see there were working on robot. So that's where they ended up getting to the idea of Baymax with the from the vinyl robots that they were seeing at this institute.
I like his design. He's very Michelin Manny.
Yeah, very much, very, very much. He's like, it feels like a mascot, which, I mean, obviously, bit of a bummer, because like it definitely has that sort of like we're gonna sell toys thing about it. But at the same time, though, it is a very warm, inviting design when he's not wearing the armor.
Right.
So yeah, it's a good one.
He looks like he's made like of windsock material.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like he's made out of a kite.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you could tell that it really is just like, or like one of those like inflatable sumo wrestling costumes.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Like it just looks like it looks like something I would like to like, one of those inflatable like punching bags, like that
Yes.
you like knock around and it returns to you.
The one with the bozo face on it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or like I had a Rocky Balboa one at one point.
I think I actually had the bozo one.
What?
I think I had the bozo the clown one.
Oh, look at you! You're also older than me, so.
Yes, I am. Not still making them, but just like. But yeah, I like the movie, dude.
Yeah, it's great. It's a charming, sweet little movie. The post-credit scene was only added to the film in 2014, August 2014, late into production, after co-director and his crew went to see Guardians of the Galaxy. He said, "It horrified us that people were sat waiting for an end credits thing because of the Marvel DNA. We didn't want people to leave the movie disappointed. So the only reason it has the post-credit scene is because Marvel was doing it, and they felt like, oh no."
But wait a minute, they'd already been doing the end credit stuff by then.
I know, but they didn't. I know, but they hadn't been seeing this production team hadn't seen any of that.
So
and when they saw that people were hanging out after the movie was over, they were like, "Oh no, we messed up."
Right. They probably got like invited to the premiere or something.
Yeah,
because they're under the umbrella. It's like, oh, what?
Yeah, I can just see like, well, if that's the case, then that means Stan Lee wasn't in the movie. Just the picture of him was. Yeah. And this movie, speaking of Rocky, does have Eye of the Tiger for a few bars.
Yes, it does.
which is very happy. And it does have Fallout Boy as the theme song.
Yeah. Which
it's not a great song.
No.
Henry Jackman, though, did the soundtrack, and he did a great job.
I like it. Yep.
Henry Jackman is very much a superhero composer. I will give you a rundown of movies that he has done the music for. Are you ready?
Yes.
He did the music for Kick-Ass.
Okay.
He did Winnie the Pooh.
Mm-hmm.
He did X-Men First Class.
Okay. I like that song.
He did G.I. Joe Retaliation. He did Kick-Ass 2. He did Captain Phillips. He did Winter Soldier.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like the Winter Soldier music.
Oh, yeah.
That little screechy effect for Bucky. Yeah.
Yeah. Kingsman. Civil War. Jack Reacher, Never Go Back. Kong, Skull Island. Jumanji, The Predator, Detective Pikachu.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good list.
Yeah. What is this? What is this other nonsense? It's just... Oh, he programmed the synthesizers for some movies too, like the Da Vinci Code and The Dark Knight. It says synthesizer programmer and arranger.
Freaking nerd.
Yeah. And he also did the music for Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Okay.
And he did he did the music for the Commodore 64 version of MC Kids, the McDonald's platforming game from the early 90s.
God. The Commodore 64 version of that
game? Yeah. And he did the music for Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, which I love. I actually have that on vinyl. I have that soundtrack on vinyl.
Which reminds me, I should probably download that Uncharted collection since it's free right now.
Yeah. Why the hell aren't you? He did win for best. He's won some awards for his music. Let's see. Monsters. He did the music for Monsters vs. Aliens, which won him an ASCAP award. Did he win any? No, there's mostly the ASCAPs and National Video Game Trade Reviewers for Uncharted 4. So the X-Men First Class soundtrack is actually very good. It's kind of understated, but Um, uh, you don't really think of the music with the X-Men movies very much because they never really gave them a theme song.
I
Um,
like the Wolverine theme from the first movie.
yeah, yeah,
I don't know what that's
um,
called, but I like it.
yeah, yeah. But other than that, like nobody really has like what you would consider a theme song. The movie doesn't have like the uh, bum 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 bum
It just has
bum bum bum.
yeah, it just has a yeah.
Yeah, and nothing. I mean, like, granted, it's probably for the best because everyone would say, "Yeah, it's okay," but it's no animated series.
But I mean, yes, the bar's pretty high.
Yeah, there's no beating the X-Men the animated
No, it's really
series.
not.
Yeah, the music in this one is fantastic.
Yep.
Um, uh, I really like Henry Jackman, and I think he did a great superhero score for this. Um, let's see, when did this came out on home video on February 24th, 2015. uh Steven Siegel, who co-created the comic book Big Hero 6, criticized the Blu-ray featurette documenting the origins of the group for not mentioning Duncan Rouleau, who was a co-creator along with him, and the same thing with the Big Hero 6 art book that came out at the time. So that's kind of crappy, Disney, but Disney's well known for just not giving people their due credit for things that they created.
Where he lives in
Even
the
back in the early
valley.
days,
Go film it.
yeah, like even back in the early days of Disney stuff, like the animators didn't get credit because it was
Yeah.
like this isn't this is just a studio film. It's like it's Walt Disney's on the marquee, so that's who's the man behind it all. But
To
yeah,
to be fair, Marvel's like, oh yeah, we've been doing that too.
yeah, it's like so it's perfect symmetry of the two companies. Box office, Big Hero 6 earned $223 million in North America and $435 million overseas on a budget of $165 million. So it did A-okay.
Yep.
Uh, in North America, it was the second highest grossing science fiction animated film. Uh, uh, Behind 2008's Wall-E, and the second highest grossing animated superhero comedy behind The Incredibles, and the third highest grossing Disney animated film behind and is currently the third highest grossing behind Frozen and Frozen 2. That tells you, like, this is the third highest grossing Disney
Yeah.
animated film of all time.
So it was a success.
It was a big success. It earned $1.4 million on a Thursday night showing alone,
Dang.
um, which is a higher than the previews earned from Frozen and the Lego movie.
Hmm.
On its opening day of November 7th, the film earned $15.8 million, debuting at number 2 behind second behind. It's a different sort of, that's an uphill battle enough as it is. But it dropped pretty hard, but just kind of stuck around for a while. But it still is. It was at the time it was the Walt Disney Animation Studios' second best opening weekend, behind Frozen. With Frozen opened at 67.4 million. So
Yeah.
Frozen was $10 million more.
Yeah, but Frozen was a monster too. But it's weird you mentioned it just kind of dropped. Like it just kind of just it came out and then just kind of like, all right, it's gone now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was well reviewed. Everyone, like, all, like, critics mostly liked it. Um it Yeah, it made a lot of money. People that went to go see it liked it. And it even won best animated film that year. So that's 2 Disney films in a row to win the Academy Award, like Walt Disney's animated features. Because I don't think we mentioned it when we did the Frozen episode, but it was that studio's first ever Academy Award for Best Animated Feature.
Considering that that award was created because of Disney films.
Because of Disney.
Yeah.
The award was introduced in 2001, which was won by Shrek that year, which just celebrated its 20th anniversary very, very, very recently as we're recording.
Holy crap.
Which very terrifying, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
To realize Shrek is 20 years old now. Time marches on, my friend. So yeah, and so Disney's next film after Frozen is Big Hero 6, and it also wins the Academy Award for Best Animated Film. So things have turned around for the studio at this point. And from here on out, they don't make a terrible movie.
Right.
There's a couple that are mediocre, but nothing's terrible. Nothing's as bad as some of the stuff that we've already talked about in the past.
Yes, there's nothing offensive going forward.
There's no Chicken Little. There's no what was the one that we've really, really hated? Home on the Range.
Home on the Range we hated. We hated Dinosaur.
Yeah.
I mean, it made me miss the halcyon days of Fun and Fancy Free.
Yeah. Yeah. It was nominated for Best Animated Film at the BAFTAs. The Kids' Choice Award, it won Favorite Animated Film. Yeah. So, let's break it down. Let's break down our favorite stuff to talk about here. Hey, Nick.
Yeah.
Was there a video game?
Of course.
Of course. There were plenty of video games all across the board. It was in Disney Infinity. And it even, like, this is one where I can definitively say that it has, in the most recent Kingdom Hearts, one of the stages is San Francisco, whatever.
San Francisco,
yeah. That's an actual world. It's not just like, you get to use a character from, whatever. It's that world. It is the Big Hero 6 world, which is the only Marvel appearance technically in the Kingdom Hearts franchise. So there you go. That was interesting.
Not surprising. Well, Infinity had just come out, right? Around the time of this movie, right? Yes? No.
When did Infinity come out?
I think the Toys of Life stuff had just really started to take off.
Let's see. Hero and Baymax were, let's see. Yeah, it says the original one came out in 2013.
Okay.
And Big Hero 6 is 2015. So okay. I didn't realize Disney Infinity is that old. That seems ridiculous.
Yeah, because Amiibo, you had Amiibo, Infinity, and Dimensions.
Yeah, Infinity 2.0 was released in 2014. So yeah.
In Skylanders.
Yeah. There you go. You also had Big Hero 6 Battle in the Bay, which was released for the 3DS and regular DS. It also was released in a 2-pack on the DS, which included Olaf's Quest from Disney Frozen on one cartridge. There was a mobile game called Bot Fight, which is a match 3 game.
Yeah, well, which kind of tells you, like, when you start getting the point, like, oh, there's a mobile game for it.
Yeah.
Now you can tell. That tells you how recent these movies are.
Was there Happy Meal stuff?
Of course.
Of course there was. They were very cute, because there was like I feel like there was something like for the cartoon that's out now. I don't know if there's anything when it was brand new.
Let me see here.
I think the Big Hero 6 stuff was like when the cartoon came to like Disney.
It's hard to imagine like any Disney movie.
Yeah, but this was also one of the big ones where like Funko Pops are now a big huge thing. So it was a big push for Funko Pops
Right.
when this movie came out. Like, you know, giant size Baymax and stuff like that. And Bandai actually made the toys for the movie, which makes a lot of sense. That's probably the most Japanese decision that they made, considering this this
Uh,
movie.
I'm seeing a thing. Apparently, the tie-in was Subway.
Yeah, really.
Yes.
Now I've got to look it up.
Yeah. Subway Kids Meal, Big Hero 6.
Look at that.
Yeah. Weird, right?
Yeah, but
That's
I do like
super freaking weird.
I do like the little bags that
Yeah,
they
me
were giving
too.
out. Those are kind of cute.
But like,
Okay.
they don't do tie-ins for anything.
Yeah, I can't remember any other. Like, the only time I remember another tie-in was they definitely did a like, I think the Uncharted 3 did a tie-in with Subway where you could
Yeah,
unlock where you could,
yeah,
like, the cup lets you unlock a Subway t-shirt for the video game.
right. Yeah, but like,
And like Nathan Drake was like, you could get like a sandwich. He was like in the commercial with a sandwich.
yeah.
That was that,
Oh,
but there wasn't toys. They typically don't have like, you know, here's a little like plastic bauble.
yeah. Also, I feel like if you take your kids to like, hey kids, we're gonna go have food. Yay! We're going to Subway.
Eat fresh, kids.
You guys, kids want a cold cut trio?
Yeah. I wonder what the kids' choice, the sandwich of choice for a child is at uh Subway. Like,
I will tell you from experience, just ham and cheese.
I mean, that makes sense. Kids love cheese.
Just ham and cheese, no vegetables, maybe some mayo, but there might not be a speck of green on that thing. Ham and cheese. Sure glad we came here and I spent $6 on this sandwich.
They got apple slices.
We'll just go to McDonald's. I don't care.
Yeah, get him a thing of baked Lay's potato chips.
Yeah, I like baked Lays. How dare you? Look, what I will say is this, but Subway, their cookies are good.
Yeah.
I don't particularly like smelling like a dry cleaning bag for the rest of the day after we eat there, but
But you know what? Sometimes you have no choice.
sometimes you have no choice.
Uh, theme park stuff, Nick. Is there theme park
I
stuff?
don't believe so.
There is not. I mean, there are characters,
Sure.
but that's kind of basically it. I'm curious, unless there's something in like China or something, uh, which is very possible. I feel like there is. Oh yeah, see, there is the Happy Ride with Baymax is opening at Tokyo Disneyland on. Was supposed to open last year, but I don't know if that happened.
Why? What happened?
So there is a ride coming to Tokyo Disney.
Well,
I
that which
thought
makes
so.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah. So you got that, and it would be funny if they like snuck in some stuff into Avengers Academy in
Yeah.
California Adventure. It's funny that they're not allowed to call Avengers Academy Marvel's Avengers Academy. They cannot use Marvel as the branding for the title of that land
Why is that?
because it's still part of the deal with Universal.
Oh,
So like Universal is still kind of it's still tricky with those rights issues and stuff. So
right, because there was some Marvel stuff at Universal Studios.
because Universal Studios still has the Islands of Adventure, and so anything anything east of the Mississippi is Universal territory. It's like Old Man Logan where they cut up the map and it's
Yeah.
like, this is Doom Country, this is the Hulk lands, can't go there. Red Skull land, it's basically that. So the reason That's why they're not doing Avengers Campus at Disney World, but they are building a Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster there, for the same reason we talked about earlier in the show, because that version of Guardians of the Galaxy didn't exist when that deal was made.
Right.
So, that team was created in 2008, and so they get to exist. They're not part of that deal. They're not Spider-Man or Captain America or Iron Man or the Hulk, so they can just exist at Universal, and the Guardians get to exist at Disney World in the East Coast. So there you go.
Universal hold on to those rights out of spite.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it would be very expensive to change all of that.
Right. They still technically own Namor, correct?
I think that might have finally cleaned up. I think that's done for. I don't think there are very many. I think Paramount still has the Hulk.
That's why it's not on Disney Plus.
That's why it's not on Disney Plus, and why they don't do standalone. That's why he was in Thor and the Avengers, but not his own thing, which is why I think he's also going to be in the She-Hulk series.
Right.
Because as long as it's not a standalone thing, they don't have to give Paramount all of the money for it. So yeah. But I feel like there is a couple of like stragglers. I don't think Namor is part of that anymore. I think they recently and Disney just got back Punisher and Daredevil. Like they just recently got them back whole hog.
Nice.
So they got that going for them. Yeah. So, and I think the cartoon stuff is still kind of funky. I think there's some cartoon stuff that's not, because at the time, Marvel was still able to do. They could have done an X-Men animated series, but not make X-Men movies because Fox still owned that stuff. So I think there's some weird like animation stuff that might
because you had Wolverine and the X-Men.
Yeah, which was a good show. That was a good show.
It was all right.
I like that show. So, were there any sequels, Nick, to Big Hero 6?
Does a TV show count?
Yes, because it picks up immediately after the show and it is directly tied into the series. I watched the first episode today because I'd never seen it before, and it's not great. It's definitely a kids show because it was like Disney XD.
Okay. Hey, DuckTales is good.
Yeah. But and pretty much everyone's back except for TJ Miller and Wayans.
Okay.
But everyone else is back for it. So
James Cromwell, you said it's popped up a few times.
Yeah, I'm assuming as like archival stuff because the character is, dead.
He got hauled away. He didn't die.
Yeah. I mean, but like in terms of like,
right.
In terms of comic book, like Disney, you might as well just be.
We're not paying him.
People don't break out of jail in Disney cartoons.
We'll get repeat the recording studio for 4 hours on a Friday.
Yeah, and there is a Disney Plus Baymax show coming.
Okay.
And what's very, very interesting about that Baymax show is that it's going to be the first ever TV series that's actually being produced by the Walt Disney Animation Studio.
Oh wow.
The studio has never produced a television series before. And because pretty much everything is like the Big Hero 6 cartoon is Disney TV animation. Like that's the studio that's doing it, and pretty much anything, all the spin-offs, all of this kind of stuff is typically done by a different studio, but this is the first time that Disney Animation Studio will be doing a TV series. So I'm really interested in seeing what becomes of that. I have my sinking suspicion is that they probably were initially going to make these like shorts that ran before films.
Mm-hmm.
And then just like, let's get content for Disney Plus. So now they're doing, it's called Baymax with an exclamation point. And it is him working as a nurse around, San Francisco or whatever they call it.
Okay.
So that's the premise of the show. So
It's
yeah,
after MASH.
yeah, yeah, literally. Um, so yeah, I'll be interested in checking that out. I think that'll be an interesting thing. Um, we'll wrap it up with one of our little games that we play at the end here, where we talk about the movies of 2015. I think we'll just do the top 10
Okay.
or the top 10 grossing movies.
It's looking
Yeah, Studio Nasties.
gross out.
Uh, is this right? Was it 2000? Oh no, it's 2014, wasn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah, I did 2015, and I saw Force Awakens, and I'm like, well, that's not right. Uh, there we go. There we go. The top 10 highest grossing movies of 2014. Do you know what the number one highest grossing movie of the year is?
2014.
I don't think you'll get it, but I'll give you a shot. I always like to see if people can think back on the year. In the year 2014.
Oh God. Let me think.
Trump wasn't president yet. Salad days of animated, not animated, of superhero
John Wick came out in 2014, right?
films.
Sorry, you cut off there for a minute.
Oh no, nothing. It was just more joking.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
was it John Wick?
It was not John Wick, although it was a gun-based movie.
Don't know then.
American Sniper.
Oh,
that was the highest grossing movie of the year. Keep in mind, this is domestic. I don't do international for this.
Cool.
So the highest grossing movie of the year in 2014 with $350 million domestically is American Sniper.
That guy's not a dirtbag at all.
No, a true American hero.
Yeah.
Not a politicals podcast at all. Not at all. He can rot in a hole. Anyways, number 2, The Hunger Games: Mockingjay Part 1.
Oh, okay.
$337 million domestic.
That one I've seen. That's I like the Hunger Games movies.
I think you've seen several of the movies on this list this time.
Okay.
Number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Never heard of it.
$333 million.
So movie about space.
It's a movie that takes place in space where the dumbass from Parks and Recreation hangs out with a tree and a raccoon on a spaceship. So yeah.
Okay, who else is in that movie?
You remember the guy that was Devon Dudley's deacon when he was doing the gimmick? Yeah. He's
Revolution, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did his theme songs are playing at 8th point, right? Should have been on the soundtrack.
Should have. Wasn't 80s enough for James Gunn to.
I love First Guardians.
Yeah, it's absolutely one of my favorite movies.
Yep.
I've seen that movie so many times.
Yep.
Number 4 is, I think most people would agree, is the best Marvel movie of the bunch, Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
It's
so good.
Boy.
So good.
I actually like Civil War more.
How dare you?
I love Civil War.
Winter Soldier is not just a good comic book movie, but it's also just a good movie.
It is espionage movie.
It's a political thriller. It only gets wacky a couple of times, like Zola or whatever, that's really for the most part it's pretty well grounded. Even the concept of like, you know, a covert operation going on to steal secret weapons technology and
Right.
whatever. Like,
And
uh,
even though we all did, all of us who'd been reading comics for a while, like, oh, okay, well, we know who the Winter Soldier is.
yeah, yeah.
I really like the Natasha Steve.
Listen, comic
Movie.
book series, what that comic book series of the Winter Soldier was like, it's it's what like saved Captain America.
Yep.
Like that comic book series, nobody gave a rip about anymore. And then you hand it over to Ed Brubaker, and he just like reinvented Captain America and made one of the singular best Captain America runs of all time. I love Brubaker. He's done some incredible comic books.
Because Cap hadn't been relevant since Civil War when they killed him.
And that was that was like the big thing. That was the biggest part of that whole thing.
That was almost like 8 years earlier.
Yeah. Brubaker's had a heck of a comic book career. He even did some X-Men stuff for a little bit.
But yeah, the Winter Soldier character itself is great. Like, like, oh, I care about Bucky now.
For the longest time, there were only 2 rules in the like Marvel universe when it came to death. There were only him and Bucky and Uncle Ben were the only 2 characters that stayed dead.
Right.
And that was sort of a rule. You can't bring back Uncle Ben and you can't bring back Bucky. But he came up with such a compelling story that even they couldn't deny it anymore. That idea is brilliant. That the Russians found him, and
and yes, use him as a tool for espionage and murder, political.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What if we did the Red Hood, but like not crappy?
Oh. Yeah. What if the Red Hood was good? Here we go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Really make the DC people mad with that one.
The hell, guys. You know better than we do.
Yeah, you know better than anyone that DC stuff tends to just be garbage.
Yep.
And I love DC stuff.
This man has the app for the comic books. He shared his log with me like months ago, and I still haven't got around to it. That's how little I care about DC.
Come on, man. You got to read Emerald Archers. It's where Green Arrow goes to Seattle.
I will read Darkest Night at some point.
Okay. There we go. Number 5, The Lego Movie.
I love the Lego Movie.
Me too.
2 Chris Pratt movies, huh?
Yeah. Chris Pratt was dominating like the world like immediately after this, because like Jurassic World is just around the corner too. Right. And that was a massive thing.
Yeah, Lego Movie's really fun.
Yeah, it's actually funny.
It's legitimately funny, yes.
Yeah, and it's sweet. Like I like the live action parts of it. Like the Will Ferrell stuff is also like genuinely sweet.
Yep.
So, yeah. So number 6, The Hobbit: The Battle of the Five Armies.
I still can't remember if that's the one I fell asleep to. Probably not. I don't know.
Well, I don't know which one that is. Is it 1? Is it 2 or 3?
I don't know, man.
It's the third. It's the last one. It's the last one.
It's we have to stretch this out to 3 movies.
Yeah, this is Peter Jackson really just saying I can't leave anything on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Which is very much his thing. Because I love King Kong. You love King Kong, right, Nick?
Yes.
Everyone loves King Kong. King Kong is an hour and a half of story that he was able to stretch into 3 hours of content.
Yep.
And that is unacceptable. It's not like it's Kong Skull Island where they created their own original story with King Kong. He is retelling the original King Kong story for over 3 hours, and I hate it.
Yes. I would rather watch the 1970s Dino De Laurentiis King Kong.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah. And that movie is freaking hot garbage, and I would still want to watch it.
Yeah. Number 7, Transformers: Age of Extinction.
Is that the fourth one?
Mm, It's the yeah, it's the fourth one.
Because I think I tapped out after 20 minutes of Revenge of the Fallen, so I was already
it's the
off.
first it's the first one with Marky Mark.
Uh, I had already jumped off the Astro train at that point.
I think
Yeah,
it's the one where they introduce the Dinobots, uh,
okay. Is
which
that the one?
is
Oh wait, there's Merlin or something in it.
no, that's the next one.
Okay, God
The
damn.
next one, let me tell you, the
No,
movie's hot
no,
garbage. But
no.
the next one starts off with Merlin, as in the wizard Merlin, getting
God,
his magic staff from Cybertronians,
Jesus,
uh,
God,
and
stop.
also Earth is Unicron.
Oh,
Um,
for heaven's sake.
yeah, yeah,
God,
yeah.
God.
Number 8,
Oh.
Maleficent.
You know what? I've never seen Maleficent.
Really? It's good. You should watch
Yeah.
Maleficent. It's a good movie. It really
Is,
is.
is that the reason we got that really bad Disney TV show with the villains and stuff?
I
Because of
think
that?
The Descendants.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Or
think
what the
that's
heck
what.
it was? Or what's my
Yeah,
time? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think so. I feel
Yeah.
like that because
Yeah.
I mean that is good. I haven't seen the sequel, but the original one's good.
Does it describe like why didn't you just make everything a spindle?
No, but
That's a callback, folks.
that's what we call a throwback, a
Go back
callback.
to the our
Yeah,
great spindle debate of 2020.
yeah. Why didn't she just make everything a
Make
spindle?
everything a spindle. Yeah.
You have infinite powers. You could just make it rain spindles.
Make it rain spindles.
Yeah. Have her reach into the kitchen drawer to pull out a spoon. Oh, oops, all spindles.
It's like it's a spindle.
Yeah. Oh, you gonna brush your teeth? Okay, here's your toothbrush. Ah, spindled.
Would be a real shame if your teeth got spindled.
She's bound to prick her finger on a spindle at some point if you just replace everything. It's like those
Yes.
old like we've replaced his shampoo with our shampoo.
You're not drinking Colombian crystals?
Yeah.
What? You.
It's Folgers. Number 9, X-Men: Days of Future Past.
I like Days of Future Past.
Hell yeah. It's funny when you think back and you look at like the first X-Men movie and even the second X-Men movie, there was no part of your brain that said like, yeah, they'll do Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
That's where this is all leading to.
Nope.
Days of Future Past.
Never.
Yeah.
I can't tell if this is because so I was talking with somebody about this recently about how Wolverine, his body's kind of supposed to stay the same, right?
Yeah.
And just how freaking yoked Hugh Jackman is in the latter part of the X-Men movies.
Yeah.
This or the Wolverine might be the most dude, you're on the
game. When he first pops up in the past and he's shirtless with that lady, it's just like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah. He's
just so like, okay, I get it. We get it. You're just showing off now.
Work out.
Yeah.
Enough. Yeah. You won. Okay.
Yeah. It's the same thing. Like, remember when the first Avengers movie ended with a teaser for Thanos?
Yeah.
And your brain is just like, are they going to do the Infinity Gauntlet?
Yes.
There's no way they're going to do the Infinity Gauntlet. That's crazy. That's like, comic book movies don't get bonkers like that. Like, the Avengers was about as bonkers as they had ever gotten by this point.
Right. Like, oh, Loki's a big bad, like in the first comic.
Yeah. Like, it's like, but then it's like, then they announced making a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and you're like, wait a minute. They're going bonkers, aren't they? Yeah. They're going to do the Infinity Gauntlet, aren't they? And when it became obvious that that was what the choice was, it was just like, oh my God, how? Like, that's the dream, right? Like,
right.
When they start making these comics, you always want to see like the one.
Right.
And when it comes to Marvel stuff, when it comes to the Avengers stuff, it's like, what do you like? Your choices are you either want them to do Secret Wars or the Infinity Gauntlet,
Or
like
maybe Dark
Dark
Phoenix.
Phoenix. But you don't really think of Dark Phoenix as like, I'm talking about like, Avengers size, kind of like a bit of everyone. Like, yeah, Dark Phoenix is that way, but you really more think of that
What's left now? The Onslaught Saga.
as the X-Men. But I was just saying, like, with the Phoenix Saga, like, you kind of see that more as an X-Men thing as it
Right.
is. I'm talking about like just the Marvel universe as a whole.
Right. But Onslaught Saga is probably the last one they could do, right?
Yeah, at this point, yeah. But like, so like the dream, like they did Days of Future Past with X-Men. Like,
Right.
that was clearly going to be like the big X-Men one.
Yep.
Just like how we got the Infinity Gauntlet. Like, that's the dream one. Like I was saying, with the Avengers stuff, like the dream with the Marvel big crossover event stuff, like you got one of the dreams. You got they even did some of the minor stuff. Like, it's cool that they did Civil War.
Right.
Like, it makes, like, it was never a big, retroactively it's become a big comic book storyline, but you'll remember when Civil War happened, nobody really cared for it.
I mean, I was into it, but I remember the joke.
Yeah.
We had goofs going on all the time.
Yeah. Which side you were on, but
Which side you were on.
Yeah, but as a storyline one, it wasn't particularly huge, and people were kind of mad with the outcome of it.
Yes, it was
because it fractured everything to a weird degree. And at the time, the mutants were decimated, and they're already struggling, and now you have this Civil War stuff going on, and Captain America has been murdered in the streets, and it just like. Again, retroactively, it's become more popular than it is now. They did even a sequel to it and everything. But
yeah.
at the time, it was just a big event, but it wasn't particularly well received. And
It's just like, hey, do you like Tony Stark? Well, guess what? Now he's an asshole.
Yeah, well, now you won't.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Peter Parker made the worst decision of his life, literally, because that's what led to One More Day.
One More Day, yeah.
Yeah. So they've tried and failed twice at doing the Phoenix Saga. We got Days of Future Past.
We got the Infinity Gauntlet.
So yeah, I would love to see Secret Wars movie.
Yeah.
That feels like, I don't know how you do that. I don't know what the setup for, like with the Infinity Gauntlet stuff, it makes a lot of sense. Like the way, because like it really is, the Thanos quest, you do the hunting the stones stuff. Like, that makes sense. There's a MacGuffin. There's not really much of a MacGuffin for a Secret Wars event. It's just a dude that is like, ha ha.
I'd be okay for Onslaught if they pull it off.
Yeah, there's so much has to happen for Onslaught. I always hoped they would do a Fatal Attractions storyline.
Yes, absolutely.
In there, because in order for Onslaught to work, you need to have that event.
Yes.
Like, not necessarily that exact event, but the ending to that event where Charles finally snaps and just erases Magneto's like mindscape entirely and just leaves him comatose with no brain freak waves.
Wolverine getting his adamantium leech is the catalyst.
Yeah.
Charles, my head.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. So yeah, Fatal Attractions would have been a cool story.
Sure would.
Played off.
Or even Executioner Song, maybe.
Executioner Song. Every ticket comes polybagged with a collector's card.
You get the flow card.
The best Executioner Song is the greatest thing because you can get an entire run of that series, of that crossover event, for like $5. They overproduced them, and they're all still mint in their original bag with trading card, baby.
Yeah, those are the ones, like if you went to like a Books A Million or one of those places where it's like, hey, we got comic books. It's the whole run of this.
Yeah, you go to there's this Half Price Books out here does this like sale. They haven't done it in a while because world's a little bit of a hellscape still.
Mm-hmm.
but you used to be able to go to the like warehouse, and it was just like, hey, bring a bag, or not bring a bag. We'll hand you a bag, and it's like $20 for whatever you can fit in the bag as long as the handle's closed. And they have just bins filled with books, DVDs, and comics and everything. You can just dig through and just collect as much stuff as you can. I got a shit ton of X-Force and X-Factor comics
Nice.
from this thing, because and so many of them are Executioner's Song crossover and
Yep.
Strife stuff, and there's so much
Oh
of that stuff, because and
God.
it's like, yeah, it's ridiculous how easy it is to get that stuff.
It's a
I'm trying to
guilty
think
pleasure.
what,
That
yeah,
arc is
what,
a guilty pleasure of mine.
yeah. I wonder what else, like X-Men wise, like what else would be an interesting story for them to tackle.
Age of Apocalypse, maybe?
Yeah, that would be fun. Uh, but that's just one of those things. Like they really have to commit and start going. Like, because like what fun is Age of Apocalypse if you don't have like, you know, your continuity set in place?
Right.
Um, yeah, like
Maybe
yeah,
maybe some of the what if stuff we'll be getting this year could be.
yeah. And there's always been that. There was the rumor that their big plan for Wolverine is to do an anthology series.
Okay.
Where it's just like every season is just like a new like era for Wolverine or whatever, you know. It's like, hey, this is this one, now it's this, now it's that, now it's, you know, it's not really necessarily an overarching story, it's just showing Wolverine through history kind of thing. So like, you know, you very well could easily be getting a 60s era, you know, Wolverine in Vietnam or whatever kind of thing.
Or when he was doing stuff with Cap in the 40s.
Yeah, or you know, he was, you know, him and with Alpha Flight in the 80s or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
whatever kind of nonsense. So that's been the rumor for Wolverine, and you could really do some interesting stuff with that. There's a lot of fun Wolverine stories to tell. He's always had a lot of his standalone stuff has always been really good. Just because you know, in the 90s is when he got so big and there was just so much of it.
But they've kind of covered most of because they've kind of covered Weapon X a little bit.
Yeah,
and they did Origin, and so
yeah.
it's in the Japanese stuff. So
Yeah,
I don't know where you go
yeah.
from.
Yeah, I don't know. Like clearly, like yeah, I'll be interested to see what I hope that we actually just get a lot of team stuff. You know, we don't really get a whole lot of team stuff with this with the X-Men. I mean, they like, you know, my favorite X-Men story is the God Loves Man Kills story, and that's basically what X-Men 2 is.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll be interested to see what Disney ends up doing with the X-Men, because the thing about the X-Men is that because Claremont did it for so long that the stories are just all just sort of long form storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
There really isn't a whole lot of like up until very recently, but even like recently, some of those stories, like, you know, Second Coming or like Messiah and stuff like that, where it's like these are all stories that need continuity. Like, yeah, you can do the story where the X-Men are having to fight off vampires, sure, but like what good is that when there's no established continuity previously? Like maybe the Giant Size X-Men #1, where Xavier is putting together a team to save his students from Krakoa or whatever, you know.
I mean, that's a good way to reboot the franchise.
Yeah.
Or are you going to do that?
Yeah. So, oh yeah, that'll be fun. Anyways, number 10 of the year is Big Hero 6.
Never heard of it. What's it
about? A boy and his robot.
It's about a sandwich because there was a Subway thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, is that why it was a Subway tie-in?
Oh my God.
Because it's a hero sandwich and it's
oh my God, I hope not.
Please tell me that's not why it was that was a tie-in for it.
Oh my God. Did anything else interesting come out this year? That Jack Ryan movie came out. I really liked that movie.
I mentioned John Wick.
Yeah. I Frankenstein. That movie sucks.
I don't hate it, but I don't like it.
It's funny because it's like I like Aaron Eckhart a lot, so
yeah. Wait. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Victor Frankenstein with
okay.
With freaking McAvoy.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's all right. That's an all right movie.
300 sequel came out.
Oh God, that's right.
The Mr. Peabody and Sherman movie came out. Need for Speed came out.
With yeah, the Need for Speed movie came out. Even though the Fast and Furious movies pretty much took off from the Need for Speed movie, a game, right?
Yeah, basically. Veronica Mars.
Oh, right. They made a movie of Veronica Mars.
Wasn't that kickstarted or something? Wasn't that
I believe so.
like this? Like, yeah. God's Not Dead, the Kevin Sorbo God movie.
Oh Lord.
The Muppets Most Wanted.
Didn't see the Muppets Most Wanted.
I did. It's okay.
Yeah.
Oculus, which is actually pretty good as far as horror movies go, and it's a WWE film.
It's also a thing that Facebook owns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It stars Karen. What's her nose? The Dr. Amy Pond.
Karen
Nebula.
Gilliam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nebula.
I don't watch Doctor Who, but I know it's Amy Pond. Shut up. You know enough, sir.
I know enough. I know it's Amy Pond because when she was cast as Nebula, that's like Amy Pond cast as Nebula.
Yes.
Let's see. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Do you think Mark Webb got that job simply because of his last name?
Sure did. Also, do you hope the rumor is true that Jamie Foxx is coming back as Electro?
It does not sound like it's just a rumor. It seems like that is 100% because, like, they have interviewed Dr. Octopus. His name is.
Yeah. God, what is the man's name? He was in the best Spider-Man, or the best of the first three. Alfred Molina.
Alfred Molina. Like,
yeah.
they've interviewed him, and he's talking about reprising the role and doing it and everything. So it's like, it would, if he's in it, if it's for sure he's in it, then it's for sure Jamie Foxx is in it. There's no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind that he's going to appear in it in some way, shape, or form.
I think Garfield and Maguire are kind of like, we're not going to be in it, but
yeah, I think they're just playing. I think they're doing the opposite of
the Tom Holland. Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Anything else? Godzilla came out.
I like King of the Monsters better than the first Godzilla.
Oh,
I know.
I hate the first Godzilla. It's bad. They do everything in their power to make sure you never see Godzilla fight a monster.
Hey, what's the best thing about the first two Godzilla movies?
The music.
Well, the music in the second one.
Yeah.
But I was a kid Watanabe.
Ken Watanabe is like the best actor in the entire thing.
Yes.
Anything else? X-Men: Days of Future Past. A Million Ways to Die in the West. Edge of Tomorrow. That's a great movie.
Is that the Live, Die, Repeat one?
Yeah.
With Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise?
The manga is titled All You Need Is Kill. Jersey Boys.
Oh, based on the Broadway show.
Yeah. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
I own that?
Yeah, me too. Snowpiercer, the Bong Joon-ho movie with Chris Evans.
Right. Which is now a TNT show or something like that?
Yeah. Well, it was originally a comic book.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and then Bong Joon-ho, known as from Parasite fame, made that was probably his first big movie, I guess.
Right.
Because, but even though, what was that? What was his first major one? That was The Host. The Host.
Okay.
The Host is such a good movie because it's like it's like a monster film that's kind of a dark comedy in its own way. It's great. So yeah, watch The Host. Let's see. Planes, Fire and Rescue. The Purge, Anarchy.
Oh God.
Dwayne Johnson's Hercules.
Oh right, that movie was a thing.
Yeah. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
The Michael Bay one?
Yeah.
Huh.
Megan Fox and Will Arnett. Or as
Oh,
I called it in our Disney public radio, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
just the teenage.
uh, the Expendables 3.
I've stopped it too. I think I stopped it too.
Yeah. Leprechaun Origins starring Dylan Postel.
No. Oh, another WWE films.
Yeah, starring yeah, it's so Leprechaun Origins starring the guy that played Hornswoggle,
But
the
isn't he
leprechaun.
barely in it?
I mean, he's the leprechaun in it, but yeah, he's kind of barely in it.
It's just like the camera is him.
Yeah. Sin City, A Dame to Kill For.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Atlas Shrugged Part 3.
Mm.
A Walk Among the Tombstones. The Maze Runner. The Box Trolls. That's a great movie.
I got nothing for any of these, man.
Oh man, you haven't seen the Box Trolls?
No.
Have you seen any of those movies from that studio?
Nope.
Oh, come on. You got to watch some of those. You have to have seen something from that studio. Did you see Coraline?
Not all of it.
Paranorman, Kubo and the Two Strings?
No.
Okay.
Actually,
well, watch those movies. The Equalizer.
no, Jason Statham.
No, Denzel
No,
Washington.
Denzel. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, what do we think? I actually like the first Equalizer.
Equalizer's great.
Yeah.
Isn't there a TV series that sucks?
It's the Vicky TV shows with Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
This isn't that the era where it's like, hey, old actor, we're gonna make you like a retired badass guy. And so, it's like started with like Taken and kind of branched off from there.
Yeah, they did that Shooter TV series. You remember? Because I was thinking of just like all of those movies that are now getting like updated for TV shows. Because like, you got the Equalizer and you got Shooter and you got something else that's out there now too. It's getting ridiculous. Hey, Annabelle came out this year. I like those movies. Those Conjuring movies aren't all great, but they get the job done.
They're still making more of them. I saw previews during basketball years ago.
Because there's one that's just about to. The Devil Made Me Do It.
Yeah, it's like the Conjuring 4. I was like,
that one looks good. I'm gonna see that. It's on HBO Max. So yeah, Gone Girl came out this year. That was a big movie. Left Behind, the remake.
Oh, Lord.
Starring, who starred in that? The Left Behind remake, right?
Not Kirk Cameron.
Nope, Nicolas Cage.
Oh, right.
So if you want to see that, then you go.
Dracula Untold.
Yeah. With Luke Evans.
Here's the thing about that movie. I wanted to like that movie.
Yeah. Whiplash came out this year. Whiplash.
J.K. Simmons at his J.K. Simmons-iest.
Yeah. I get to let him yell at people. That's a great movie. Birdman.
Oh, the Michael Keaton. Yeah.
Yeah. Birdman, where he's definitely not playing Batman, that's for sure. Dear White People. Fury. Is that the World War II movie with Brad Pitt? Yes, it is. And Shia LaBeouf. Nightcrawler.
Oh, but Kurt Wagner, where he's
Jake Gyllenhaal is Kurt Wagner.
He's Kurt Wagner. He just teleports places. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's not so much teleporting as he goes into a alternate dimension that is in the underworld and can reappear elsewhere. That's why he leaves behind a trail of sulfury smell.
In Brimstone, yes.
In Brimstone, yes.
Correct.
His father is Satan, not Mephisto. A different Satan in the Marvel universe.
And Mystique's maybe his mom. We don't know.
Probably his mom. Yeah. The Ouija movie came out this year. Interstellar came out this year.
Okay.
Foxcatcher, Dumb and Dumber 2, Horrible Bosses 2, Exodus: Gods and Kings, Inherent Vice.
It's a terrible year for movies.
What? Well, I mean, the second half in particular is
Yeah, it's rotten.
Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb. Yeah, Big Eyes, Tim Burton's weird thing. The Interview. Remember The Interview?
Oh, yeah, that was a Sony leak.
Yeah, that was that was the one that North Korea was trying to stop from coming out.
Yeah. That's how we find out about the Spider-Man thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we knew that Civil War was going to be real cool potentially. And that's also where there was the rumor of Men in Black with 21 Jump Street. Goddamn crime. Come on, internet. Oh, there we go.
I can hear you.
There we go. Anyways, yeah, that's where we also got the 21 Jump Street Men in Black crossover.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I love that leak. That was something crazy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying like these going through these Disney movies because it really leaves me like I haven't really thought about watching Big Hero 6 again, and it's not because
you don't like it.
I don't like it. It's just like I got better things to do.
Man.
Right. It's like it's a great movie, but there's lots of movies out there, and this isn't one of their best of all time.
No, there's other Disney movies that you're more passionate about.
Exactly. And it's like
we mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. Or what's the other one? Tarzan. Gotta get.
I love Tarzan, especially that soundtrack.
Yeah. Oh boy, but you know what? That's going to be it for Big Hero 6. I think there's nothing more to talk about.
Yeah, it's
because we spent most of the time talking about Marvel comic books.
Yeah, which we'd probably rather do anyway.
Yeah. So, do you know what the next movie is, Nick?
Is it Wreck-It Ralph Dose?
No. There's 2 more movies until you get to Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Then I don't know.
Next up, number 55 on the list is Zootopia.
Oh, I actually have to watch Zootopia now.
Yeah, so you've never seen it. So there you go.
Never seen it.
So here's what we've got going on from here on out. Next week or next episode, I'm not going to say next week because it's been a month since the last one. Next episode is Zootopia, then Moana, then Ralph Breaks the Internet, then Frozen 2, then Raya and the Last Dragon, and then number 60 coming out this year in November is Encanto. So
the last Raya the Last Dragon, probably have to pay for that one soon, or is that already on the free tier?
It probably by the time we get to it, it'll be on the free one because it just came out on Blu-ray this week as we're recording it. So by the time we get to it, it'll probably be on Disney Plus proper. I don't expect us to get to it in any expedient fashion because we've still got Zootopia, Moana, Ralph 2, and Frozen 2.
We have to know about Ralph 2.
Yeah.
Oh,
so, I'm sorry. That is the weakest of the group coming up. I guess Raya and the Last Dragon. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet either.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to pay $20 to rent it, and I could actually see it. I just went to the movie theater for the first, and not the first time, but like the first time I went to an actual like Cineplex for the first time this weekend. So I'm back to normal for me, basically fully vaccinated, good to go.
Same. But yeah.
So.
I think maybe I might be Black Widow for me. My next one. I don't know yet.
Yeah. I'm definitely seeing Black Widow, so there's no way of stopping me on that one. So, yeah, can't wait. So I I'm not going to go see Raya and the Last Dragon in theaters, but I can wait.
For like
But
a month
until
or
then,
so. Yeah.
yeah. But until then, thank you all again for joining us, and have a magical day.
Bye.